Monica here. It's been so long since I have posted or even recorded a video. So glad to be back. With that, why am I creating this? Well, about 2-ish years ago, I had created a presentation which I was supposed to give at a conference, but that fell through, and I had the opportunity to present that at the Data Community Content Creators Award ceremony. That's a mouthful, but that was last year in June. And rather than, I had an idea of like creating a video and representing that, but I had a fun idea. I really like YouTube's React channels, so I thought it would be kind of fun to react to my own presentation of it. Now that I'm what, a year and a half ish older, and have more experience and whatnot. So let's just get into it and see how it is. I've also not recorded a video in a while, so I'm a little bit shaky on that. So bear with me. So let's get into it. So with this is the Data Community Content Creator Award ceremony presented by Kate Strachny and Harpreet Sahota. And again, this was in June 2021. So getting to it.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Data Community Content Creators Award ceremony with myself and my co-host.
I remember being so excited about this. I like logged in early and saw Kate, and she was dressed up, and I was like, okay, I need to go change. Like popped off, went and changed my outfit, came back, and I was ready for my presentation.
Let's just do an award show. And you're like, all right, let's do it. And why not, right? Because the data community in general is just filled with amazing content creators who are educating and inspiring people with their creativity and their desire to help others. And so this award ceremony is just a way of honoring them. And
yes,
I think the proposal I came to you with was like, imagine the MTV Video Music Awards meets the People's Choice Awards. And the day's finally here, man. I can't believe it.
I know. I still remember the day you asked me. I'm like, yeah, sure. What's one more event, right? And now several months later, we're finally here. Really
Kate puts on so many events. She's amazing.
Giveaways. We have some really cool guest speakers, and we're definitely taking live questions from the audience. So as you're joining us, let us know where you're tuning in from. Did you vote? I'm gonna just say hello to a couple of people who got here. Ravit's here. We've got Al Bellami's here, George Furican.
Nice.
Monica, who was backstage with us just a minute ago. So you're going to hear from her later today. Really excited to be here. And yeah, Harpreet, when you came to me, I'm like, yeah, this is a great idea. And I've never seen this done in the format that we're taking the approach, right?
All right, let's pause that here and hop over to the session. I think it's around, yeah, it's around here. Okay, let's just hop right here. Okay. All right, why am I nervous? All right, let's go.
Again, for being an awesome partner.
All right, let's go ahead and introduce our next speaker, Kate.
All right, go.
So our next speaker uses data and technology to learn about the world. She's super passionate about sharing knowledge to inspire others to continuously learn, develop, and improve their skill sets. She's an accountant by formal education, but once she was introduced to data and analytics, she was hooked and on the move. She's an end-to-end data specialist who has experience in data government, data management, data literacy, data visualizations, as well as the sexy, sciencey, advanced topics like enterprise analytics and data science. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming our next speaker. She's here to give us our dose of nerd nourishment, Monica K. Royal.
Hello, hello. So glad to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Super.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Just to pause for a second so I could breathe. I always get so like excited when people are introduced at these things because it just like gets everyone so pumped up. And I, being like the hyper emotional person that I am, I also get hyped up. And yeah. So even watching this, I'm like, oh my God, it's Monica. She's coming on. Okay. So, all right, let's get back to it.
Super excited to have you
Awesome.
here.
Yes, we're really, really great to have you here. I'm really looking forward to your presentation. And again, I absolutely love the nerd nourishment phrase. Very creative, very unique.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna hop off the stage, let you take it away, and those in the
Perfect.
audience, feel free to ask questions. We'll take those after the presentation.
All right. Being the big nerd that I am, I have slides. So we are going to talk about how to learn all the things data style. And one word term that's been thrown around is,
That's why trial runs are really good.
are they changing?
All right.
It's working now. I see it.
Okay.
Continuous learning.
So continuous learning, sorry about technical difficulties. So continuous learning, what that is basically means that you're learning something new every day. Formal definition being the concept of always expanding your knowledge to gain new skills and expertise. And for businesses, it's really about encouraging employees to steadily learn by providing them with the tools and that facilitate this type of learning.
Something cool about this is I was just talking to one of my LinkedIn friends about passions versus obsessions. And passions are more of a long-term thing, where obsessions are like, what are you obsessed about currently right now? And this is one of my passions, continuous learning. So it's kind of cool to see like that grow and still stick. So hashtag continuous learning.
So how do you get into continuous learning? Well, you really just need to start. There's nothing really more to it. I understand that this really is the hardest part. And some people, they try to get their ducks in a row and they try to really wait for something magical to happen. But I'll let you know that you'll just spin your wheels if you do that here. So just dive into the deep end and have some fun.
I still very much preach that, but every now and then I need to listen to my own advice. So with several things, even recently, I was, trying to get my ducks in a row, and I even have, these little duck guys. But they're always going to be everywhere, and they don't like to be in lines and in a row, and you're just going to have to deal with it and start. So yeah, back to that first slide. Start now.
One fun fact is that it was predicted that last year, by year 2020, that about 1.7 megabytes of new information will be created every second for every human being on the planet. Now, if you're new to the data community, I know this is super intimidating because there is a lot of data to learn here. But I'm going to give you some tips here. First off being, don't be intimidated. It's a super fun community, very supportive community, lots of really fun and exciting things to learn. Another thing is just remember that you don't really have to learn all of the things at once. There's too much to learn in the first place. So kind of look around, figure out what you're interested in, and learn that one thing. And then also remember that Google does exist. So there's a lot of professionals out there that think that they have to learn everything off the top of their head, but I Google things every day, all day, and it's completely fine in an appropriate way to learn new things.
This is so true. Don't try to learn all things at once. I just posted the other day about being a generalist versus a specialist. I very much find myself to be a generalist, and I think that it's very helpful for others because I know where, if I don't know the answer myself, I know where or who to ask to point you in the right direction. And so I think there are a lot of very strong benefits to being a generalist. However, they tend to try to learn everything and all at once. So know that you don't have to do this and just stick with what you enjoy doing. And also with the Google thing, I find it funny because especially with like interviews and such, they're really adamant on you like knowing the questions right then and there when you could just Google it. One tip with those interview questions is that although you might not know the answers, you could just explain, like kind of give them your mind process on like how you would go about finding the answers to that, aka using your Google Foo. Right back at it.
Another fun fact here is that we actually submit 40,000 search queries every second just on Google alone, which amounts to 1.2 trillion searches yearly. So if you're already a data professional in the data community, you know that this is a big deal. And data is constantly changing, constantly evolving, new technologies coming out on a daily basis. So some tips here, if you're learning, you really want to build upon the experiences that you have already to really strengthen that foundation that you have. And just to do that, you want to practice this continuous learning. Now you might be scratching your head thinking, Monica, I still don't really know where I'm supposed to start. So I'll give you some resources here. The first being, this is a very short list of what are considered massive open online courses. There are tons of platforms available that give you courses in pretty much any data topic or any topic that you can imagine. If you'd rather learn from a tutorial perspective, two platforms that I've used previously are called Mode and w3schools.com. And these are more sandbox type areas where you can build tables, build queries, and learn in that type of manner. And then, as we've mentioned before, there's some competition sites, the most famous one called Kaggle, where you can go on and solve some pretty cool business problems. And if you do well, you can win some prizes. So that's pretty neat too.
I recently took a hiatus from social media for pretty much an entire year, and listening to this, I'm learning a lot from myself in several different ways. So this, and then all of these different resources, I'm like, oh yeah, that exists. Oh yeah, I think I have some Udemy classes in my profile that I need to finish.
If you're more into reading books, articles, or blogs, there's a really famous blog called Medium, and they have a section called Towards Data Science that has a lot of very valuable data resources. And then there's also publishers, two really famous ones being O'Reilly Impact, that have data science resources available as well. Now, you might be thinking, with all of these different resources available in your hands, how are you supposed to juggle this and actually be productive in learning? One technique that I want to share here is a Pomodoro technique. And Pomodoro is an Italian word for tomato, and you can see that cute little tomato kitchen timer. So with this technique, you want to grab yourself a timer, any timer will do, and also a notepad. And what you want to do is choose a task that you want to work on, write that down in your notepad, and then set that timer for 25 minutes. You want to take a short break and then repeat that about 4 times. After the 4th iteration, then you'll take a longer break, about 30 minutes. And during this time, you'll want to go back to your notepad and assess how much of that task you actually got completed. The main point with this technique being is that you don't necessarily have to follow this strict 25 minutes or 4 iterations. It's very adjustable to how you work. But the main point being is that you want to work on your task with absolutely no distractions. So no going to the refrigerator for snacks during this time. Now you might be thinking, how am I supposed to keep up with this productivity? And I like to think of it as a marathon. We've talked about marathons previously, and that you have to really take time and practice to get things right. And that's okay. Now, one step further, you can actually create a habit out of this productivity. And there's one technique called the 2190 rule. And this is super simple. Whereas you want to have one task that you can do for 21 consecutive days, and then you'll create a habit out of that. And if you complete that habit for 90 more days, then you'll really create a lifestyle. So if you think about something small like working out for 10 minutes a day for 21 days, then that really becomes a habit. And then if you do that for a couple of months, it really does become second nature to you in your new lifestyle. Now that you have all of these tips, tricks, tools, you might be thinking, am I actually learning anything here? And this is where active learning comes into play. Number one tip being, be active. Now, how do you be active here? What you can do is attend events and conferences, and you guys are already doing this in the data community today. You can also participate on question boards, a good platform here being Stack Overflow, where people post questions or problems that you're having, and you can really go on there and see if you can help anybody with their issues. The last one being, of course, to create content on social media. You guys are very aware of that. My favorite platform to do this on LinkedIn. The data community on LinkedIn is super, super supportive.
One thing to add here with the being active is don't feel bad about taking breaks. Breaks are good in many ways to give you a clear mindset, but your mental health is key. And so don't be afraid to take those breaks, and also really don't feel bad by taking those breaks. And really, I'm saying this out loud for myself because I do feel a little bit bad for taking such a long break from my content creation, but it's all right because I'm back at it.
So main point being to be active and really work out your brain muscles here. Some tips: in order to be successful with active learning, you really need to step out of your comfort zone. I know it's super comfortable in your little comfort zone, but that's not really where the magic happens. And Albert Einstein actually says it really nicely here, saying that a ship is always safe at shore, but that's not what it's built for. So like with humans, we're really built to use our brains and to gain knowledge and to create things from that knowledge that we're gaining. Now, how do you actually apply that learning? One thing that you could do is to create a personal project portfolio. And you can do this either on LinkedIn, on GitHub, your own personal website. The options here are limitless, but really the main point being that you want to document somewhere your progress, and you'll be able to share that with others.
Also, a plug for Avery Smith does a great job at teaching people how to build these types of personal project portfolios in the data community. So I would recommend to go check him out.
And you may be thinking that these project portfolios are probably more for people that are beginning or starting out in the data community, where I actually think that it comes in two aspects, where you do have the people that are newer to the community demonstrating that they know the topic and that they're showing that they have experience, but really it's a great way to help business professionals solidify that new knowledge that they're gaining, as well as teaching and inspiring others in areas that they might not know about. So I always like to end my creations with saying, happy learning. I just want to thank you guys so much for having me again on this show.
Oh, wonderful. I learned so much. That was a good presentation. That was literally live. And so I think I did really well without having to do any edits or I didn't stumble too much. Of course, everyone stumbles, which is fine. But yeah, all right. So that is my presentation to y'all about how to learn things in data. I'll probably reformat this a bit with my new knowledge. Now that I'm 1.5 years older, I have new knowledge and more to come for the data community. All right. And as Monica said, and I like to say, happy learning.